let's get to the meat of why I'm bringing you on.
Did you say meat?
Man, I read this. I read this 42. Oh wow! I read this 42-page. We need Uncle Jimmy already.
We need
to really
Uncle Jimmy
take that.
Already. Let's go.
To take it where it really needs to go. But anyway, I read this 42-page lawsuit, and nothing in there kind of surprised me. I heard you say that you were unaware of the rumors about Charlie and Joy. I was not unaware of that. So nothing in there really surprised me. But when I read that in February of 2020, or perhaps March of 2020, Nusheen, the hairdresser, went out to lunch with Joy and Emmanuel Acho. I was like, oh, wow. February 2020, I know what I was doing. We were on, me and Marcellus were doing the show together, but Emmanuel Acho and Joy Taylor were meeting, and it's not crystal clear if they were talking about Speak for Yourself at that time, but they were talking about obviously working together, and someone put that meeting together so that they could work together. And then Nusheen says that later she sees Emmanuel Acho in the building, and I'm thinking, well, this must be around September. I had left, and now he's working there. And Joy says that, I want him to have me on Speak for Yourself. And sure enough, in 2022, that comes to fruition. Anyway, I just wanted your reaction to it, like, oh, wow. There was some long-range plans being concocted perhaps as early as February of 2020.
Yeah, I'm glad we're having this conversation, you and I especially, because it's therapeutic. I think it's really crystallizing for me some of the machinery that was at play, some of the moves, the mechanisms, because I just thought it was like in football, like in sports. You lose an opportunity. Hey, the younger running back that's cheaper is going to be the guy that probably takes your job. He's a quarter of the payment and half as good as you, something like that. So I never looked at Acho in a negative light. This lawsuit brought a lot of things home for me that I never thought of. So for you, the thing you didn't know was that Acho and Joy were plotting for our show. I did know that. What I didn't know, allegedly, was the fact that Charlie Dixon was involved with Joy Taylor romantically. If I had known that then it would have made sense of all of not only the movements, but the power that came from those movements. Because it's one thing to go to lunch with somebody and say, I want my own show. Yeah, I'm sure that happens every single day for somebody out there in talent. But to actually make it come to fruition, that takes a different level of pull. So I've always known that Acho and Joy Taylor allegedly, in rumor mill, were romantically involved. I also know from two different talents at Fox that are still currently there that, hey, Marcellus, look out. They plotting on you, big dog, because everybody there I have a good relationship with. We all on different schedules. So I always knew for 2 years, and it really put our relationship, Acho and I's relationship, in a weird place, because for 2 years, I knew what he was trying to do, but I had the football mentality and spirit of, if you take it from me, it wasn't mine in the first place. So then when it occurred, I ain't think twice about it. They gave me other opportunities. They gave me things that they knew I would deny. You know how it goes. They give you offers that they know you won't accept. And that's their way of covering themselves in terms of, hey, well, we tried, but you didn't really try because you knew you didn't give me something competent. You didn't give me something that was of my ilk. They didn't give you an opportunity to take advantage of our show that was growing at the greatest rate of all the shows at FS1. So when I read that lawsuit, I'm like you, I read all 42 pages. I sat there and said, if Charlie Dixon is a part of this, then this is a whole different animal than it was before. And it's crazy enough, man. I did my show yesterday. 2 different people have reached out to me, not just in rumor mill, they say. They're like, nah, that is fact. And I'm like, is it fact? How do you know? And they keep telling me, like, trust me, I know. And that brings us all into a different light, Jason, just to be real with you. You know, both of us, your show is called Fearless, but we roll the same way. It's really disturbing to see that if that is true, that this is how this all went down.
I'm going to ask the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this to stir crap. I'm not saying this to bait you into this. I'm a journalist, and this is what I do in my nature. As it relates to you, I could see someone saying, hey, Marcellus, this is actionable on your part, that you were harmed here. I don't think I could say that, because what the checkmate piece that Fox Sports would put in front of me is like, hey, Jason, we offered you a 2-year deal at the same rate of pay, and you said no. And we offered you this deal, and they further argue to me is like, hey, this is in the middle of the pandemic when everything was up in the air, and so we weren't in a position to perhaps offer you the money that the success of the show says you should have. And so they got an airtight argument that, hey, Whitlock, we made you an offer based on the way you operate. We knew we were making you an offer that you would refuse, but we made you a fair offer, and you could have stayed, and you could have been still making quite a bit of money, and blah, blah, blah. As it relates to you, I don't know if they could make that argument that you were treated fairly and didn't have your opportunity undermined.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. From my position, because it's 24 hours since I truly digested this, and people have reached out. Let me just be real about that. People are coming at me from a lot of different directions, including legally saying, Marcellus, take another look at what you went through. And I'm trying to take that look right now because I know of the influences that were around me. I know what they offered me. And when I say offer, I'm being loose with this, because as you look back on it, you start to realize the first thing they said to me is, we're not doing that show again, and we're not doing it with you. So now we want to do something with you. What can that be? But that right there in itself became a tornado of nothing. Like, we just went around in a bunch of circles to the point where I said, you know what, it's time for me to bet on myself, because it feels like I'm getting a runaround here. Yeah, you know, once I know, I'm gonna let you know. I'm not the type to hide behind it. But yeah, lawyers are reaching out to me because when they saw me get surprised by the allegations, especially the one about Charlie Dixon, they said that is actionable. And now I'm trying to make sure that everything that I went through and everything that I read in that article is actually true. Because the last thing I want to do, look, I've been 2 years removed from it. I didn't try to burn down Emmanuel Acho knowing that he was plotting. Joy Taylor, I still see her all the time. I wasn't trying to burn her down, even though I knew she was plotting. To me, that's just like going to coach after the game, say, hey, you know, if you give me the ball, I get more yards. But when you bring it from another perspective, that coach is actually doing something on the side, and that's influencing his decision more than just the production, just the numbers, that's a different conversation.
Like what you saw? Hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the full episode by clicking the link below.